Hello everybody. This video is a very brief description and teaser for the 86 mapping service that we have integrated with and are beginning to go live with in branches and we'll be bringing to you soon. I can guarantee this is not going to be one of my best videos. It may be one of my worst videos. And the reason I say that is you are looking at my Mac. The reason I'm doing my Mac is because I wanted to share my cell phone with you. But between sharing my cell phone and recording this video and running the mapping service, my computer is about to catch fire. So I can only guarantee this is going to go a little slow. On top of that, the mapping service, which I'll explain in more detail in a second, it definitely does not perform best on a Mac. For sure, you want to be using Chrome or Firefox or Internet Explorer for best results. So just bear with me as we talk about that because there's certain pages on here that are going to look choppy, that are specifically choppy because we're looking at it on a Mac. Okay, so 86 Borders in general, this is a third-party company that we have integrated with, and it serves to provide mapping for our dispatchers and communication for our customers. So there's three pieces of it. The customers are going to receive a series of text messages or push notifications or mapping to be able to track their order. Your dispatchers are going to be able to watch your drivers live on a map, and your drivers will be partaking in this process. What I am very happy to be able to tell every branch is that you have full control over exactly when you want your customers to get messages, exactly what messages you want them to be, exactly how you want the mapping to come into play, whether you want it to be very, very limited, very large, not at all inclusive. You will have full control over that, independent of any other branch, and very easily updated at a moment's notice. As we speak, we have launched this about 2 weeks ago in Gainesville. I will be launching it in Orlando and Jacksonville next. We're going purposely slow right now because we're still almost in demo and getting feedback and making updates and changes. But once we get these three branches done and after the new year, we're going to really get a lot quicker and more aggressive with launching other branches. But again, we're just trying to kind of take our time right now to make sure that when we bring this to you, it's a pretty polished product and an easy training process. So just really quick, the way it's going to work is that from your dispatch screen, your current SpryTech dispatch screen, if I can find it, you're still going to use this often. And so my point being is that you're going to be dispatching off your dispatch screen. Your drivers are going to be communicating just like they do today. If they use the driver login, like I hope they do, that's what they're going to continue using. If they're texting you, why are they texting you? But if that's what they do, that's what they'll continue to do. The only change for the drivers is that they'll need to download the 86 Borders app in the beginning of their shift, and we just need to make sure that it's active once they begin. So just looking at one quick example on I'm on the Gainesville dispatch page now. Let's see, I got Polzinski. She is Anna McAllister's. She has OK One-Dit. So she is right on her way to the restaurant. Going back to my other browser, and I want to look at Polzinski, for example. Takes me to her. Here she is. There's the restaurant, so I can watch her driving to it. Oh, I'm sorry, actually, that's her right there. Looks like she's pulling up at the restaurant, so I would assume that we're going to see an OK2 on our dispatch any moment. And then here's the routing that's taking her to the customer. Again, with this being the Mac, it's a lot choppier, and every time I update, like if I zoom out, the cars sort of fly. I promise you that doesn't happen when you're using your regular computer, so just bear with it. And again, remember, my computer is running very slow right now. But again, with this said, I can track Charlie Polzinski every step of the way. If a customer calls to say, where's my driver, I now can accurately tell them without asking any other questions. If I want to watch the driver and I kind of see her do some funky routing, I can call her and find out. If I see that she's driven to her boyfriend's house instead of going to McAllister's, I'd be able to watch that as well. And so this is the process for the dispatcher. I'll say that I definitely recommend dual screen for your dispatchers if possible. Watching Gainesville, they threw this onto their second screen for the dispatcher. It's sort of just always running there, and it's just a quick and easy reference for the dispatcher. As far as the communication with the customer, which is really the heart and soul of this, again, you have full control. So what I'm going to talk about right now is what we did for Gainesville, knowing that you don't necessarily have to do this. But for Gainesville, at the OK1, when the driver sends the OK1, that triggered a text message or a communication SMS to the customer. Let's see if we can test this. I'll tell you, my phone is a tough one because I've done so much testing and so much demo that it's possible that this isn't going to work for me, because I did a webinar yesterday and it did not work. But let's try it. If I actually put my real phone number, that would help as well. So again, the way that we had it in Gainesville is that the customer is getting messages at OK1, OK3 when the driver is actually approaching and upon delivery. That's what we did for us. We made tweaks to it along the way. We will probably still continue to make tweaks, but you have the ability to absolutely do the same. Got my right phone number on here. I'm going to push it to dispatch. I'm going to give this to a driver. And the OK1 is the entry to it all. So nothing happens until an order is actually OK1 by a driver. And with that said, again, with these messages to the customers, we were kind of purposely vague and almost a little purposely playful with the customer in Gainesville. So again, OK1, yeah, maybe that happens a minute after they place their order, but maybe it happens 30 minutes after they place their order because of different reasons. We didn't want to specifically say, hey, your order was just now accepted by a driver, so we did a message like, thank you for ordering, something like a little more vague and palatable regardless of when it went through. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this as OK1, but it doesn't have to be me. It could have been the driver, it could have been text anyway, and I actually had success. Here's my phone saying, thank you for ordering from Doorstep Delivery. To track, get this app here. So in the background, I'm going to start this process. So keep in mind that this is a third-party application and that the customer does need to download the 86 Borders app and have it on their phone for the tracking component. If the customer does not do this, they will still get text messages if you choose so. They just wouldn't be able to do the actual tracking of the customer, of the driver, without having the app downloaded. And we'll see. I think my phone's going to freak out now. So I'll put that aside. But you can see right there, that's the beginning of the process. Going back to the 86 Borders map, and I go to Lee, who is my driver. He is now connected to me. Now, this routing's pretty wild because remember, he's not actually on this order, but here he is, and there's Olive Garden, and there's the routing for him back to me. So as we go, this will update. The way that we again have it in Gainesville, the OK1 sends them that message of thank you. We also have OK3 sending them a communication. But again, we were purposely vague. The OK3 doesn't specifically say, hey, your order is up and your driver's leaving the restaurant, because as you guys know, just because he's leaving the restaurant doesn't mean he's necessarily going directly to that customer. So we did a message more along the lines of, your order's almost done, we're finishing up, can't wait to see you, something like that. And again, the customers have really enjoyed just any communication because a lot of times they're sitting there thinking that they've been forgotten, and getting this message is very helpful. When it comes to the next message, which is the actual mapping piece, this part, you have full control over the range of like how far you want it to be. So, for example, in Gainesville, we did 1,600 meters, which is the equivalent of a quarter mile, which is really nothing. Like in some of our tests, the customers aren't even being able to track until the driver's pulling into their apartment complex, for example. But again, this was a strategic choice and one that we've actually had a lot of success with. So again, even if it's only the very end of the order, looking at Gainesville, for example, that includes pulling up to the dorm but not necessarily being able to find the customer, being in a hospital complex but not necessarily at the right building, being in an apartment complex but not necessarily at the right building. And we have found that with the customer having this final piece of it and being able to watch the driver there, good success. And so again, I do recommend starting small with what the customer can see, but at any point you can change it to increase it. Just the same way, at any point you can change the messages that go to the customer. Again, this is crazy down here. This is definitely just a Mac thing. But you want an OK1 message? We can do it. You want an OK3? We can do it. You don't? We can change it. You want to change it because there's a football game today? We'll change it. We can do that at any time. And then the final text message or push notification is upon the OK4. And that is just asking the customer to rate the driver and put any notes about their experience, and you would get that data. And there's other reports too that we'll look at, but you can see the amount of speed that the drivers were going on average and top speeds and some other reports like that. But this is, again, just an introduction so you guys can kind of see what's coming and know that you'll have access to it. And as we get into January, we'll talk about this a lot more, and we'll definitely be doing some full trainings. But again, the nitty-gritty of it is that your dispatchers will have a map in which they can see their drivers moving live. Your customers have a system that allows them to get text messages or even tracking of the drivers. And that's it. All right, thanks everybody.